Oh yes, guys, we're back with yet another episode, and as you can see, we have Kyle with us. Kyle Chase, how are you doing? You're VC, you're YouTuber, you're everything. What's going on?
What's happening, Ivan? Yeah, very, very good to be here. Thanks for having me, man. It's a very, very good day today.
Yeah, and just for all of you guys who don't know, Kyle, he has been active in this space forever. I remember meeting you at a conference in like 2017, and you've been investing in this space all the time that I've known you. It's always some venture you have, you find new projects, you incubate projects, you do your own projects, and also now you are a YouTuber as well. So you speak about the small and big coins, but also small coins. That's why I wanted to have this intro, because I think many people at this point are a bit tired of hearing that influencers like ETH or Solana or some other big thing. They want to know the small caps. Where do we have the nice life changing gains? So guys, if you're interested in this kind of topics, watch this video and also subscribe to Kyle, because as you can see, he's pumping this altcoin videos basically every day, and I know you are gonna be focusing even more and more on your channel, so go and check it out. But Kyle, let's start by just what is going on in crypto right now? What is the state of the market? Is it time to go into small caps, big caps? What's going on?
Yeah, I think I think that it's interesting to start looking at the rotation of capital. We're not quite there in the state where where these small caps are going to do. They're not going to do 100x in the next the next 3 or 4 months, but what is nice is if we identify the things that are getting some attention now, we can kind of have a crystal ball to look into the future and see what is likely to be the things that do the 100 or 1000x in the bull run. And, and so that's what we try to do. We try to, me and my research team try to look at what is the evolving narrative, because as you know, I've heard you talk about a lot of times, it's all about the narrative, and it's not necessarily, and I try to find both. Try to find both fundamentally strong projects and narrative driven project, right? You can't have a fundamentally strong project that doesn't fit in a narrative. It's just not going to get the attention that you need. You're not going to make money off of that.
Yeah.
But like, but it is fascinating, right? Like I made a video yesterday with Fishy Catfish and Chainlink God from Chainlink. And we don't have to talk about that because it's a big cap. Everyone knows I'm incredibly bullish on Chainlink. But what I find fascinating, absolutely stunning, is this Pyth narrative. Everybody says, oh, Pyth is, that it's going to be a new Chainlink and it's so much better and faster. And everyone is just regurgitating the same crap, and it's like they keep sharing this screenshot of Chainlink when it launched with 4 price feeds. They're like, oh, look, Chainlink has 4 price feeds and Pyth has 198 or whatever. It's like, dude, that's from 2021 when they first launched, and it's just the same narrative. But, Pyth very well could pump. But I also tried to go a bit deeper and teach people what's going on so that they can have a good fundamental understanding too. Because for me, the most exciting thing is finding a project you have high conviction in, really understanding it, and then getting a nice bag of it. And then knowing that, like, no matter what the price fluctuation is over a short period, that most likely it's going to do extremely well in the long term.
Yeah, and I think, for example, with Chainlink, many people understand that Chainlink is great, but also many people understand that, okay, they were not part of the early days, and now it's like top 10 in CoinMarketCap. It's very high. So that's why there's always an interest to go to the new project, even if the existing leader is good. And like you say, Chainlink has all kinds of things and CCIP and all of the all of the innovations that they're doing, and they're now number 13 on CoinGecko.
Yeah.
So how do you view this? Because I know you're super bullish on Chainlink, but then that in comparison to the small caps, even if they're not the same quality, obviously they're new. How should people be thinking? Because if Chainlink does a 5x in the coming bull market, maybe even 10x, like it's not going to be life changing for many people who are watching this. So how do you view this?
Well, so for me, I've always, the mentality of get rich quick is something that is super. It does happen all the time in crypto, but should we bet on it? Probably not. So, having a properly balanced portfolio and allocating a good amount of capital, depending on your risk tolerance. I think you are too, Ivan, but I know for sure I am 100% of my net worth minus I've got one piece of real estate. And even now, and guys, I've been heavily committed into crypto for 12 years, and I am the most absolutely into it. I'm even trying to sell my villa. Everyone's like, don't sell your villa. That's like, that's proper like physical infrastructure that you can live into and the roof over your head. Because what if everything goes to zero? Well, I really don't think everything's going to zero. I'm in the market every day. I see what's going on. But I would like more exposure to the market. So I'd like to try to sell my villa and get into it. But to answer your question, I think that people are looking at the market and saying, okay, well, okay, if Pith gets to Chainlink's market cap, I do more performance than maybe what Chainlink can do in the bull run. So I'm gonna go to Pith. But I don't think that anyone is thinking about beyond what's happening. And I do believe that we're going into a super cycle, like a massive freaking, like I've been watching the news, even through the bear market, through everything. And, from the time that we basically from 2018 up until now, but even a lot in the last bear market, if you were paying attention to the news, you saw this bank is integrating cryptocurrency for custody, that bank, that's top bank in this country is doing it, this president's talking about it. So if you just zoom out for a second and you try to remember, or you maybe you don't know because you haven't been or paying attention, but I have, and the entire world is setting up to offer cryptocurrency right now. And so to me, it feels like, and because we know we have these institutions coming on, BlackRock, Fidelity, Vanguard, VanEck, etc., with ETFs, and now institutions can come in and start to buy it. I don't know that people understand the significance of where we're going to go in the overall crypto market cap, right? And also we haven't had anything that's been massively adopted, right? And so I think that the front runners of massive adoption are Bitcoin and Chainlink, believe it or not. I think Ethereum is interesting, but Ethereum, and from an institutional investment perspective, Ethereum makes a lot of sense. They can buy an ETF, they can buy physical, they could buy physical Ethereum and then stake it and earn passive, risk-free reward on it, 4.5%. And that's very familiar for traditional banks. But wait until we have some protocol that literally the world depends on for its infrastructure. And the only one I can think about that's doing that right now is Chainlink. Chainlink, and people compare Pith to it, but Pith doesn't have partnerships since 2017 with Swift, DTCC, the biggest money transfers in the entire world, all the banks. So it's so I just don't know that people understand. And maybe it doesn't happen this bull run, but eventually the world will depend on Chainlink the way that it depends on oxygen to breathe, And so I believe that some of these protocols, because they're global, because they're not nation bound, they're decentralized, they're owned by nobody, that eventually the world will feel free to adopt them. I'd say a lot, like China and Russia and America, and Korea, North Korea even, they could all use Chainlink because it doesn't belong to a country. There's no politics involved there, right? And so I think that's very interesting. And I do think that we will start to see some of these protocols valued greater than the biggest companies in the world. Yeah. But with that being said, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I mean, and I don't disagree. I mean, absolutely. Just that in crypto, I think that there's always incentive to do a new coin because it's so easy. Yeah. You can easily do a new coin. You can build a narrative. You can create a PDF. You can get some partnerships going. So that's why probably some protocols like Bitcoin, for example, it is store of value. No one can compete with that. Chainlink probably going to be, like you say, the same kind of market dominance in its own niche. But the crypto, I think this market will ensure to create new niches, new ways to position other coins. Just like ETH came and said, we're now programmable Bitcoin. Bitcoin is massive. It is not replacing Bitcoin, but we're programmable. Chainlink maybe is going to do like you say, but there's always going to be room for, okay, Chainlink is this, but they have this problem. And now our coin, which is under 10 million market cap, is gonna go and conquer it. So let's see what's gonna happen. But Kyle, what about the small ones? I know that you are very into the small ones as well. You have your eyes on the big ones, the big micro changes, the what's happening with Chainlink and so forth. How do you view the small ones? How do you approach it? Because obviously all of them have been wrecked in the bear market, and now for the past year, some of them are coming back. How did you approach it? Which ones did you look at first, and what's your plan ahead?
Well, firstly, I'm an entrepreneur. I've been building businesses since I was in middle school, and I really appreciate other entrepreneurs and innovators. So, Ivan, what you're doing at Morales, fantastic. I had an opportunity to invest in Morales back in the day. It was a bear market. I was cringing at but congratulations to all your success. Phenomenal, right? Phenomenal. Huge. Morales I'm really proud of you, man. I like to see. And developers are amazing, right? In one way, I wish I was a developer, although I wouldn't be doing what I was doing today. But they're they have superpowers, right? Magic powers, and a lot of times developers have no way to attract big VC funding, or maybe they don't want to. They just want to innovate and crush it, right? And so because I have this like entrepreneurial blood in me. I have a lot, like I'm a mixed bag. I'm a VC, an entrepreneur, a builder, a YouTuber. Um, but I love to see innovation. I love it. I love it. Bitcoin was amazing for me. Innovation is great. So I like to look at, small caps and see who's actually truly innovating and building really cool shit. And then now, because I have a voice, I like to also try to, I'll buy myself a bag of this thing, and then I'll hold it, and I like to give a voice to it and try to bring some attention to it. But I do it in a way that after I have done enough research to make sure that I have conviction. Like you're not going to see me pumping, the CZ coin or Binance or something, right? Like, but I like to look at the smaller ones, and like we could start talking about some of them if you would like to right now.
Yes, yes, yes. You want to share the
So
screen?
yeah, so I'll start from the least degen to maybe I don't know if the particular order will go like that, but because
Doesn't
I
matter.
didn't.
The order doesn't matter. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do this. Go. Okay. So first one that I started to hear some people talk about it a little bit, and this is AOS. Now I wouldn't, I'm not saying to go ape into this thing right now, but AOS is a layer one blockchain built on the Cosmos ecosystem. Now, if you're looking at narratives, I think that this next bull run is going to be led by Solana and Cosmos ecosystem. We had Celestia come out, massive attention to it. Celestia is really brilliant what they're building as well. But AOS, I was an advisor for AOS, invested in AOS. We also launched them on Paid Ignition or Launchpad. And I've been following and staying up with Erman, who's a founder. And this guy is very smart, very successful from his previous businesses. He runs an AI lab, and he's been building this thing through the bear market, and now has built an incredible suite of products. And it has this AI narrative. They're building, so they have decentralized CDN, which is a content delivery network. So they're going to be doing so basically building infrastructure for live streaming, for videos, and they're doing an entire basically an entire attack on Amazon Web Services. So you need like web services, hosting, whatever. And they also do decentralized AI compute. So graphics cards, decentralized rendering, and for a product for a product to hit all of those narratives and be valued at 150 million fully diluted, I think is undervalued. You also can see that they're listed on Coinbase. They're doing $40 million in volume a day. Listed on most of the major exchanges, but what you don't see yet, which I think is inevitable, is Binance, right? And so there's most likely, if they're listed on Coinbase, they're surely good enough to be listed on Binance, in my opinion. So that's AOS.
And so when it comes to AOS, do they have any kind of adoption right now? Like any kind of partnership? How does it look like? Let me check the coin also myself. Do you know that? Like, is the tech in the wild? Like with Chainlink, different protocols use it already, or is it more for the future for AOS? In the future for AOS?
So they have some products are live right now, and they're about to. And so I was just on a call with Erman last week. Most of the products they're getting ready, and what you guys are getting a glimpse before they do the rebrand. So they haven't. And if you look on their X account as well too, you'll see that there was a period of time where they really stopped doing any marketing whatsoever. And so I also know the guy who was doing the marketing for them when I was on board when we launched them. And so I had a chat with them recently. So they're ramping up to start doing all this stuff again, a rebrand, including the AI narrative. And most of their main products are going to launch in February, I believe. So, but it's what's nice about it is they're building everything that you can do on Amazon Web Services, plus the decentralized AI compute and AI narrative. And it's much cheaper to do any of this than any of the centralized incumbents. And so it's not about like necessarily, and they're really trying to do that account abstraction part where the blockchain aspect doesn't really get in your way. It's just like, hey, if you want cheaper cloud computing or cloud storage, they're doing like Dropbox, they're doing like all the kind of stuff you would see from that. You can just use their services, right? And so it's pretty innovative. And then like I said, Cosmos ecosystem.
Awesome.
They also have it to where you can use ETH. You can also use your ETH addresses on it as well, which I think is great because the Cosmos wallets and stuff like that can be a little bit tricky still.
Yeah, and I mean the best thing now is that we actually have good services in the decentralized world where I see some protocols using them already. Like I know that dApps are using Filecoin, for example, for storage, and if AOS can do similar things for other AWS services, including storage, that's amazing because if we in this industry don't use our own tech, no one else will. So the more I see this, collaborations and real technical integration, not just that you do a press release and that's it, and that's the whole collaboration, but actually in production you use each other things, is fantastic. So I'm always
Yeah.
looking for that person in
Okay.
tech.
All right, so next one is gonna I think is crazy. This is not degenerate at all, but it's very
Okay.
microcap right now still. So this is actually a real solid gem for sure. You may or may not have heard of it. Probably not. Maybe. I'm sure most of your audience hasn't. So
Okay.
it's this one, Research Coin. And when I first told people about it, it was at $8 million market cap. Now it's 23 within a week. Why? I'll show you why. Because this is Brian Armstrong. We all know Brian. Look at it. He changed his bio not too long ago. So, co-founder and CEO of Coinbase, but also co-founder of Research Hub. So if you're
Okay.
long, if you're bullish Brian Armstrong, which I think that by this time the entire world is bullish Brian Armstrong, like you don't want to fade his narrative of a decentralized science project, and that's what Research Coin is. It's essentially, and it's been going for a while. It's not new, but it's his company. And it took him 2013 to essentially 8 years to IPO on Coinbase. And so I'm not saying this thing is going to absolutely pump overnight, but I think the narrative alone on this one, the Brian Armstrong narrative, the bald narrative, is
Yeah,
going
yeah,
to
yeah.
is going to do extremely well.
So that's research. That's interesting. I'll check it out. So is it certain that Research Hub is connected to Research Coin, or is just someone that
Yeah.
did a coin
It's
to?
no, it's the same for sure.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay, that's interesting. And by the way, guys,
So
if you appreciate this kind of content, smash up the like, subscribe, go to Kyle's channel as well. You find it in the description, because we want to bring you like interesting content with this like small micro caps, which is inherently a risk for us, because
yeah.
speaking about this small coins, some people call them crap coins. I mean, everything that is small is by definition a crap coin until it proves itself. So if you
Yeah.
appreciate this, number one, subscribe to Kyle, subscribe here. Also, if you get wrecked on any of this, it is your own fault, because all of this is like super diligent stuff. Like we literally, Kyle says that it's Brian Armstrong does a research hub and it's a coin connected to it. So this is like on the ground alpha that we're bringing straight to. So let me know in the comment section if you like it. I think you should love it. And Kyle, let's move on. Sorry, I interrupted. You were saying
No,
about this
that's
research.
okay. And thanks for bringing that back. Actually, I do want to say that I understand, right now that a lot of the bigger YouTubers are really afraid to touch this kind of stuff, and I get it, because in the bull market, everyone was talking about microcap 100x's, and in the bull market, it went great. And then when the market came crashing down, and those smaller caps went all the way back down 99% below what their all-time highs were, everyone got reamed for it. And I understand. So on my channel, I try to say exactly what you did. I try to educate people. And I also to say, I'm not telling you guys to go out and buy these coins. I am literally just telling you what I am doing with my own personal money, not Master Ventures, not our fund money, my personal wallets, what I'm doing by myself. And I've done really well over my career financially, right? I've turned in, I started with $100,000 in crypto back in 2013, and that has grown exponentially, right, since then. So yeah, I'm just bringing you guys stuff that I'm doing and that I really enjoy, and of course I'm just doing what I'm prepared to lose, and everything. And if something I invest into goes to zero, I'm okay with it, and that should be the thesis. But there's a really good asymmetrical bet here, high risk, high reward on a lot of these things.
Absolutely.
But I do, yeah. So I will cover this stuff. And like Evan says, you have to have your big boy pants on here. Otherwise, don't step into the game, right? Like go back and work at McDonald's or wash cars or go get a 9 to 5 and be a lawyer or something, right? Like, so another one here, like I'll show you guys is this one. And this is kind of a lot of stuff that I do here is talking about data-driven analysis, because you can't fudge with data, right? There's one thing to be a good narrative or something, but another thing is to have actually great data. So it's hard. It's hard. I know you're going to get this in the comments. It's hard to take something like banana seriously, right? It's hard. And I say it all the time, but it's called banana gun, dude. And it's hard to take that seriously and not think it's a shitty meme coin. But this is literally one of the best technologies in the entire space. When I first started telling people about it, I told people before it even launched, and I said, it was really hyped up. I said, don't I said, don't buy it at the launch. It's gonna go. It could be hyped up. It's probably gonna go to $25. I was wrong on how high it would go. It didn't go quite that high. But I said, wait for a retracement to get in between $5 and $6. And so if you took the median of that and got in at $5.50, you'd be up, where is it? 142% right now. So I also tell people if there's something that is about to launch, like the strategy, don't get in right away, like wait a little bit and then get into it. But you can see here, like I use Dune a lot, like, and a lot of my plays are on-chain plays. I like to see everything on chain, fully transparent, so we don't have to trust people. And you can see, like, you want to look for charts like this up and to the right. This is volume and fees, and Banana Gun has fees and volume, fees going back to token holders of Banana, also goes to burning.
So what is it? Is it a game or what is it?
Yeah,
you said that it has some
yeah. So no. So what Banana is it's a Telegram based bot, and so you can use it and it's not really used for sex coins, bigger, but it's used for like either sniping launches of something. So if you want to get in there and you want to, there's a hot launch coming on, you can snipe it. It's the reason that Banana Gun has taken complete dominance over every other sniping bot is it's the fastest, and you can bribe the miners to get your order in before everybody else. So for example, there was this project called Wrecked that launched not too long ago, and it was very hyped up. Arthur Hayes is behind it, everyone's behind it. And this one guy used Banana Gun to snipe the launch. He bribed the miners. And for all you guys watching don't know what that means. Essentially, the order of transactions, if your order gets processed first before everybody else's, even if you put it in after everybody else, you can bribe the miners so your order is first. So if there's a hot launch coming up, you can literally bribe the miners. In this case, in this exact example, they bribed him 45 ETH, and they were able to buy up like 10% of the supply. And then because it was so hyped up, the price got pumped up. These guys had 10% of the supply. They were able to liquidate that over the next like hour or something. They walked away after the fees with $450,000 in profit in a couple hours. And this is powerful technology. And this thing's only been around for a couple months. Look, they've got $700 million in total volume. The user growth is exploding. From early days, obviously there's no users. In 2 months or whatever, there's 50,000 users using it. You've got 1.7 million trades. And you can see that there's the volume that it's doing on a daily basis is just crazy. It's doing 13, 14, $17 million of volume a day. And so I like to look at these things where you can see like this is just obvious growth. And when you have direct correlation with revenue tied to token price, because it goes back to buying and burning or redistributing. So the more Banana that you have, the more fees that you get to share. That's very, very bullish for the token price over long term. So, you have a $33 million market cap. Even Unibot, which is far inferior technology in the bear market, that run went to $211 million market cap. So I think this thing has tons of upside to go still.
Super interesting.
So here's another one. This one's very, very fun. 0xl. This is crazy. This allows degens to basically use leverage on all the newly traded shitcoins. So it's a fun dopamine type of hit. But imagine the technology that goes into it. You use it through Telegram. I'm also very bullish on Telegram technology. So you can see this guy, I like the developer here. He's, it's a fair launch. There's no private sale, no pre-sale, no nothing. 100% went to the LP, fair launch, and he's doing it right. So the way that he's doing the beta right now, and this is $1.5 million in beta with only 400 users right now, but that user base increases like every week. He adds like 50 new users to the beta to make sure it can scale properly, but you can see these guys, like, look at this guy. He punted, $20, and did on shit X. And he got 2,200% on this. This person did $5 with 100x leverage on baby Trump, made 36,000% gains on his.
So all of these Telegram bots, is it still that they give you an address and you deposit, and that address is like centralized, or have they transitioned somehow to this decentralized account abstraction or something like that?
It's a very good question, and I don't know the answer for all of them right now. I know that with Unibot, there was an exploit recently from the router, I think it was. But I would just advise everybody to not keep more money in the Telegram wallet than you're comfortable with, to use whatever you're using for sure. I don't think it's a self-custody wallet. It's certainly not something that I would trust. So this thing at $7 million market cap.
I mean, despite it not being a self-custodial wallet, you're sending money to a dude who made the Telegram bot. But you clearly see the success of it in the market with Unibot, who proved it, and now all of the iterations on top of it with Banana and this X0, that people really want it. And it truly shows that most people don't want decentralization; they want permissionlessness. That they don't really care that this money can disappear because you can choose to not put a lot, like you said, just put a few thousand, like whatever is you're comfortable with. You know that it can go to zero because he can literally just shut down his server, and the Telegram bot doesn't work anymore. But it's so nice to speculate and go nuts anyway that people are doing 700 million volume. That's an interesting phenomenon. This we normally speak about decentralization, but clearly people just want to go nuts.
Yeah. So, yeah, Ivan, have you seen Caspa?
Casper, yeah, of course, of course.
Yeah. So I did a video on. I actually, it's so in the comments and on my X account, people are like, oh, Caspa, and guys, like, if you ever want like Ivan or me to check out something, don't just say the name because we're gonna think it's bots or shit, right? So
Exactly.
for weeks or maybe even months, people were telling me Caspa, and if they would have just said Kyle, you should go look at Caspa. I know that you're that you love
Exactly.
Bitcoin. Tell me why. So I finally did check it out, loved it, made a video about it. I think it's brilliant. But the point, another one is that this thing now, I'm telling you guys right now that this I don't have a lot of confidence in from a like I don't know the guys behind it, and I don't know that if what they're doing is legitimate or not. But they are updating their X account as if they are doing something. What it is essentially is it's basically a way to get exposure to Caspa mining without having to go heavy into the mining. So it's this, if you guys know the consensus protocol behind Caspa is GhostDAG. And so they call this GDAG. Now this is a real use case here. It's not decentralized by any means, but it's a real revenue share kind of thing. And I think it's funny how we've evolved into that. But, I started talking about this thing when it was like $1.5 million market cap or something. Now it's 7. But the narrative here is like, if these guys are actually doing what they say they're going to be doing, which is taking some initial capital that they had, plus like on-chain taxation, plus I think some other type of fees, they're using it to buy Caspa miners, and they want to set up a huge mining operation and split 50% of the Caspa that they mine with people are holding this token. And I just think that because the Caspa community is so bullish, and I was thinking about going back and setting up a Caspa mining operation at my house in Thailand as well. But instead, like I like just put a little bit of exposure into this because I think that this is like, 1, the token can go up a lot. 2, I don't have to spend so much money up front on Caspa miners. 3, I get exposure to the mining community to mining Caspa without actually having to do it myself. And I think that Caspa mining is going to be very, very difficult to do in the future because Bitmain just started making Caspa miners.
I mean, it's interesting with Caspa that we are coming back to this proof of work narrative that some people probably felt that, what the hell, we want to mine. We cannot mine Bitcoin. Like, we cannot not mine anything else. Let's make a freaking new coin from scratch so you can mine it, like you said. And now everyone is thinking, maybe I should get a proof of work miner, because then you kind of get back into the early days of Bitcoin. And although it doesn't really make sense. I mean, come on, like it's proof of work like Bitcoin, but it's a new thing. I know it's DAG and all of that, but it's just that it's more of a nostalgia coin. Like, to me, this is like, let's go back and pretend we are early miners, because this we can mine. We could not mine Bitcoin because we didn't know about it. But that's fascinating how the market psychology works. Do you think that Caspa is going to be like, is that do you see it as a meme, proof of work meme, that it is a proof of work thing, so it's like, or how do you think it's going to progress?
It got me really, really excited when I read it, because I was in Monaco about 2 months ago, and I actually ran into Roger Ver. And if you guys don't know who Roger is, he's like the original Bitcoin Jesus, the Bitcoin evangelist, and eventually the whole Bitcoin community got this big fight, small blocks versus big blocks, and it was about scaling Bitcoin. And I was on the side of bigger blocks, but what's the name of the Blockstream? Blockstream was on the, they wanted to keep the blocks smaller. So, we had this conversation, and, we all, like, people think that Satoshi's white paper was meant to be, it's like a holy scripture made 10,000 years ago where we're supposed to interpret it in different ways. But like, Satoshi made that in 2009. like in scientific English. He's not meant to be like a,
Yeah,
you know, like a, you know, interpreted in any other way other than a peer-to-peer electronic digital cash. We don't have that still today, right? And so we somehow have moved on as an industry beyond, you know, from what that vision used to be to accepting that maybe we never get that ever, right? Because Lightning Network isn't decentralized; it's permissioned, right? You have to get permission from these state channels. So
yeah,
we still don't have that, and so I think it's interesting. I made a whole video on proof of work narrative last week. Nexa, I don't remember if you remember, Ivan, the Bitcoin Unlimited guys. They were
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it was like a, yeah. So Bitcoin Unlimited, they're making Nexa, which has been doing really, really well. The whole proof of work narrative. There was another one, I forget the name of it. There's another one called Space Mesh that's coming up. These guys are some of the smartest guys in the world trying to redo Satoshi's original vision. I think that's a noble cause. I think that there's still room on the table for that. And I think that right now, you know, Caspa and maybe this thing called Space Mesh that guys, Space Mesh, because it was started mining like 3 months ago. There's not enough liquidity for them to be even on an exchange yet. Some people started on this like really scammy safe.trade. That's something that like I would recommend. And because there's super low liquidity, there's not real price discovery either. But I reached out to that guy and
Yeah.
trying to help him get on a proper exchange now. But I think that Ivan, I think that don't you think it'd be interesting if we had like Bitcoin is digital gold? We need a peer-to-peer digital cash still. It's permissionless on a layer one, I think. So
Yeah, yeah.
I think that narrative.
I think for trading purposes, absolutely, because people want another thing to trade. But I mean, practically, if you think just pragmatically, there's Bitcoin Cash, like there's all kinds of this proof of work, fast coins. It's not a new thing, but they're not new. They are. We didn't buy them when they were new, so we need another one. So I think it's that kind of goes back to what I said in the beginning. There's always another reason to launch a coin because man, we were not part of Bitcoin Unlimited, early days, and the Caspa, you can be part early, so it's always going to be new ones. The thing that I mean personally, why I'm not that into this like proof of work stuff is because you need a centralized exchange, and I just have some allergy against it. If it's not on like Bybit or Binance, I don't want to sign up on anything else, like some small thing from Asia. Like I mean, those days for me at least. I don't know if I want to repeat them, but there are big opportunities there for sure. And I want Dex, man. If it's on Dex, fantastic. But it's interesting because because before everything was on centralized exchange, and then you
Yeah.
had to go to Dex to find the gems. But now, in a way, it's vice versa. Now you have to go back to central exchange to this like scammy small ones exchanges to find this, for example, proof of work coins. So that I think that's a big problem with this proof of work coins. But they pump,
Well,
so if you want
well,
that, you
well,
sign up.
well, yeah. Well, Caspa is on all kinds of big exchanges, right? It's just not on
Yeah,
Binance
now it
yet
is.
or
Yes, yes, yes. Yep,
Coinbase
yep.
yet. So, but I agree with you.
Exactly.
Like, you know, I wouldn't go buy the Space Mesh I told you about until it's on a proper exchange because they're their own layer one protocols. It needs to be integrated into the SEX and things like
Exactly.
that. Yeah.
Exactly. Awesome, Kyle. I mean, these are very. I like the size of the coins we're speaking about. This is like super. Again, guys, it's super risky. It's up to you, but we're here to bring you the alpha nonetheless. And then if it goes up or it goes to zero, that's another question. Did you have more, Kyle? I know you had one more because I saw it in your tab.
I have a few more. Not sure how much you
Oh,
want to
that's
go
good.
into,
That's
but
even better. That's even
yeah.
better. Let's go.
Okay. So this one is let's see. It's called Winner, and it's a layer one. So I'm really interested in the decentralized gaming narrative.
Yeah.
Now you guys, so I know we don't want to talk about large caps on here, but I will show you something that's just quickly super impressive. I Rollbit is insane. So one of the ways that I look at projects from a valuation perspective is I look at what is their, I look at price to earning ratio, so PE ratio, and this is how like a lot of traditional guys will value stocks on the stock market, and like they'll look at like a fair market value for a stock trading on for a stock is the PE ratio of like 25, maybe somewhere between 20 to 25 is kind of like considered fair market. You're betting it's a higher value than the company's worth, but they believe that like that's a fair price. Anyway, the closer you get to 1 or even -1, the better of a deal it is. And so the revenue on Rollbit is just insane. And you can see the burning is absolutely insane too. And so I like this gambling narrative. Now, I'm not a gambler myself, but people obviously are. And just, even if you're like, look how many tokens that they've burnt so far. They've burnt almost 2 billion. So they've burnt almost, what is this, like 38% of their supply so far in like less than a year, right? Just from revenue going back to buying and burning. And so I actually have a pretty good significant size of roll bits. There was a nice pullback. People know that I talk about it quite a bit, because when you the interesting thing, Ivan, about something that has buyback and burns built in from real revenue is that you don't necessarily need retail to buy it so much, because they buy their own token and remove from circulation. So it's constant buy pressure daily from the
Yep,
revenue it makes itself. So it's very interesting. So anyway, so yeah, the massive Rollbit's massive. Now, if you think that the decentralized casino narrative is interesting, Winner is quite interesting as well. So, this has obviously a lot to prove, but it's infrastructure, right? And I love picks and shovels, right? So if you wanted to get rich in the California gold rush, you weren't the gold miner, you were the guy selling picks and shovels. And that's why I like infrastructure. I like middleware. I like things that are going to, that's why we all like layer ones, layer twos, like this kind of thing. We like makes sense. So what is Winner? So Winner is essentially an Arbitrum chain, and built as a protocol for people to go and start building their decentralized casinos on top of it. And I think that if this is a narrative that continues to progress, and I think with the success that Rollbit had, you can see that it's probably going to do quite well as a narrative overall. And at a $16 million market cap, I think this is very, very low for a layer one Arbitrum casino coin. Okay.
Interesting.
So now this is going to be either, okay, so I don't actually know too much about this. And the reason that you see one candle here on the daily is because they had to relaunch their token here. It's 800. This is the lowest. And you can see it's just like, it's nothing. But if you go to the actual website, and I don't even know. So one of my friends who's quite smart, told me about this project Koto, and it's not even updated. Let me go to the old coin here and find it, the actual website for it. But it's basically like a bonds, a bank, a money market essentially. And this guy's, it's not even built out for yet, but I like the way that this guy is approaching things. He's updating his blog and everything very, very often. And it just seems like one of these very, very smart developers here. This is the old coin. So maybe it's not even up here. Anyway, so this is, again, guys, like something that's very early, very experimental. And it, but maybe it's worth throwing a very low percentage of your portfolio in here because nobody knows about it, right? And I don't even know if I could find, let's see if I could find it. Koto. Yeah, Koto. So it's a bonding. So you can go here to go to documentation. I'm not sure if you guys can see this. It's all, Ivan, you could probably appreciate this because it's all developer stuff. But it's can you see my
yeah, we can see.
Yeah, github.com. Yeah. So anyway, people can go over here and read it and again do your own research. But this guy's setting up like a proper project, and I think that nobody knows about this right now. And I did play around with it. I went and I actually bonded some ETH. And the way it works is you can bond some ETH, and then later, like it goes, you get your ETH back, and you also get the appreciation from the token. And so anyway, that's very early, very degen. And then the most the most crazy thing I've seen in a while is this. And people, please don't hate.
There you go.
please don't hate me for showing you this. I'm not saying to go buy it. I'm just saying that this has hex written all over it in a way where he's did you see this this Zen, this guy named Jack, the Zen token?
Yeah, I know Zen, and I know the guy who did this because that's Jake, right? Who did it?
This is Jake.
Yeah.
So what do you think of him in this?
Well, I followed him when he was speaking more about the pulse chain things and so on and so forth. Then I know he switched to speaking about the Titanx. I don't know fully what it is, but I my guess is that it's inspired by like Zen and Hex. Tell me, what is it?
Yeah, I'm really interested in the best way to do token economies. And so, when I first started watching I watched a video on Titanx, and it's really actually very complicated to understand all the mechanics of it. But it's essentially like Zen and Hex had a baby and spat out Titanx. And so it seems like it's one of these, I don't even know what the purpose of it would be. But it has that same kind of thing all over it. And so if it has any possibility to even hit a quarter of what Hex did. It has insane upside. Now, what I also learned is that it's not the best thing to actually go buy the token on the open market. So when I talked to Jake,
Okay.
he says, bro, don't go buy the token on the open, because if you would have bought Zen on the open market instead of doing the virtual mining like they offered, you would have been wrecked, totally wrecked. Why? Because there's massive inflation every single day from the new coins being created. But the best way to approach it is to actually mine it. And this thing has crazy things built in where you deposit ETH and it goes back. It's basically a giant clever Ponzi scheme without being, Jake, don't hate me for saying this. Like I know that it's not the fact that I don't understand it well enough yet, but I think it's interesting to check out. I just want to put on people's radar in case you want to go do your own research and check it out. But like by no means do I understand it nearly enough still, even after watching the video twice, to recommend that anyone do it. But again, I think it has that same vibes written all over it.
Yeah. And I mean, often this hated coins, or I don't know if this one is hated, but in general, if something is disliked, it pumps even more.
The hate rallies are crazy. Yeah.
The hate rally, exactly. No, but interesting. I'll check it out. And but Zen, how is Zen doing? Because I know that it had a lot of attention previously, maybe 6 months ago, and now is it still going, or it dumped? Let's see.
I think it's like ranks number 500 or something. That's the problem, and that's why you don't want to buy something with these virtual mining things, because there's so much inflation happen every day. And what people will do, like, think about it. If you live in, if a couple bucks to you, or five, it's like Axie Infinity, right? Like in the early days when it blew up, right? Because if $1 to $2 to $5 is a significant amount of money to you, then what you're going to do is every day you're just going to go and you're going to do the virtual mining for the shortest amount of time. You're just going to mince money.
What virtual mining? I remember I knew it when I read about Zen, but I don't remember it now. So what is it?
Sorry, I have the Elon thing in the background. I tapped my, they updated these earbuds, and now it just plays
the virtual mining. What is it? It's that you.
So on for Zen, it was
fee, right? Like there's something like you paid the fee to mint it, and like that's how you get the coin. You burn the ETH or something.
In Zen, you didn't even have to. In Zen, it was just literally you go to a dashboard, and then you say how long you want to claim your tokens, and then you can just do that to infinite. And then you would have to go back on that. So the longer that you do this claim, then the more that your reward is. And then you have to go on that day. So if you claim 300 days from now, you have to remember to go on that day and go claim your tokens. And if not, then there's a steep penalty for every day that you don't do it afterwards. But you could do one day. So every day I can come back and I can mint some tokens. I can sell them on the market. So you have this kind of like that same kind of grinding mentality that people had for all the players in Axie Infinity, which just hyperinflated the supply. And so anyway, Jake claims to have taken like the best mechanics. I don't even think he said this, but from my perception, he took what he thought to be the best mechanics from Hex and Zen and made them. And so the Titanx has like crazy burning mechanisms built in to try to offset some of the inflation that happens. Quite fascinating.
Anyway, we'll check it out. Kyle, man, amazing. Again, guys, go check out Kyle's YouTube in the description. A lot of stuff. I mean, here we gave you everything from Chainlink to $100 million AOS, and then everything down to like I saw a coin we showed here had like 50K, 80K liquidity. So be extremely careful with this small ones. Be extremely careful. So Kyle, like, what is the final message to our community? What is the wisdom we want to communicate here?
Well, I think that one thing that's really, really certain is that I find myself, and it seems like everyone I've talked to that was involved in the last bull market, we all tell ourselves that we're going to like have higher conviction on a smaller amount of coins or tokens and kind of try to focus on those in the bull run. But the bull run hasn't even really started yet. And I already have my daily, you know what I mean? So it's like, there's a lot of FOMO here, and everyone always feels like they FOMO because that thing that you thought you were going to buy yesterday pumped 60% when you were sleeping last night. And there's really no way to capture everything in the market. And so, you have to be able to sleep well at night, knowing that you're doing the best that you can. And, one thing that's for sure is what I try to do on my channel is just try to have a research team who's deep in the weeds, trying to find the narratives. And like you say a lot, the narratives are the most important thing that's going to pump things. But you also have to know that a narrative driven rally isn't a fundamentally, it can be, but it's oftentimes not a fundamentally strong driven rally either. So the things that pump the hardest are also likely to dump the
Yeah.
hardest. And so, knowing when to take profits, knowing, and then understanding if you have conviction too, because something like, can just turn around very, very quickly and dump on it. So this is why I like these data-driven tokens, and I talk about them a lot. When you can go on chain and you can look at what kind of revenue they're doing, what kind of volume they're doing, what kind of revenue share they're doing with token holders. I have more conviction on those than just these kind of let's listen to the founder tell his marketing team and tell us why their coin is amazing. So yeah, and then also I just I'm very, very, very bullish on the things that we're building in house. The Commonwealth, which you're involved in, which is very exciting. Fluid, Paid 2.0 about to launch, but I try to look at the whole market, see where things are going, see where there's things that need to be built, and then we try to build them as well. So I believe that I can give a quite interesting perspective too from a builder, investor, a degen, a YouTuber, all these things.
Yeah, and that's the special thing here, that you're so involved with this industry hands-on, and that gives an extra depth. So Kyle, thanks a lot for being here. Thanks a lot for bringing all of these coins, and we will do it again, because next month, I mean, I'm sure there is something else. These coins, they come and go, so it's going to be interesting to go through this bull market together.
We'll have
Thanks
a whole
lot,
new list next month, and we'll see which one of these ones did a 200, 300, 400 pump or went to zero. So
exactly.
again, guys, please do not blame me if this is, do your own research. I'm just bringing, but full disclosure, I also hold all of these tokens because I like them. So anyway, guys, thanks, Ivan. I appreciate your time, man. And hello to your audience. You guys are amazing. I see you on the live stream every day, and yeah, we'll catch up soon.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. And thanks, Kyle.